The Truth of Girls. The Truth.
Hi everyone. Tomorrow on the 12th of April, I'm going to be talking on my radio show, The Truth of Girls on American Freedom Radio, with Jeff Harvey from jefftech.net. His website is here and you can find all kinds of interesting information there. Jeff is a natural health practitioner with a very interesting background using cutting-edge technology for research and to help people improve their health. So I'm going to be talking to him tomorrow at 2 p.m., well from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the radio. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about is GMOs. Let me just tell you how I first became aware of GMOs. It was about 10 years ago, and a roommate of mine mentioned to me that she thought the strawberries at the supermarket were GMO because they would shrivel instead of rot. And I said, well, what's GMO? I'd never even heard of it. And so she explained to me that it involved altering the genetic material of a plant to give the plant, or the vegetable, the fruit, some properties it wouldn't normally have. And at the time I was just kind of like, yeah, okay, so what? You know, I had really no idea. And she told me that, like for example, they would take a tomato and put a fish gene in it. And I just was like, all right. So, you know, I would have at the time bought that argument that it's substantially equivalent, which is how they were able to put these GMOs out on the market, saying it's substantially equivalent. Looks like a tomato, tastes like a tomato. It is a tomato, except it's part fish. And now they even make genetically modified animals. Are they supposed to be substantially equivalent? I mean, if you have a goat that makes spider silk, is it substantially equivalent to a goat or to a spider? Maybe it's more substantially equivalent to a chupacabras. A glow-in-the-dark cat, is it equivalent to a cat or a jellyfish? A pig crossed with a mouse, what is it equivalent to? Also, as it turns out, GMOs are very dangerous to human health and the environment, and more information about this keeps coming out. Study says EPA-approved GMO insecticide is responsible for killing off bees, contaminating entire food chain. Now it's turning out that clothianidin, I guess, a GMO pesticide may be responsible for colony collapse disorder. You know, who knows, the GMOs don't belong in our food chain, they don't belong in our ecosystems, and every time they're used there's some catastrophic effect, whether it's super weeds or it's the crops becoming resistant to this pesticide, and all kinds of stuff. But as Discovery News tells you, controversy swarms bee and pesticide study. This pesticide is something that's called a neonicotinoid, so like new nicotine. So it's a new form of nicotine-based pesticide. And of course the company that's making it, Bayer, is doing anything they can to try to debunk this new information that it's really toxic and might be killing the bees, because of course everyone's very concerned about the bees, so this would look very bad for Bayer. So clothianidin is one of these neonicotinoid pesticides, and others are imidacloprid and thiamethoxam. Sounds very toxic just by the name of it. Anyhow, so this doctor, or this scientist, a biologist from Harvard called Chen-Sheng Liu, did a study where he fed bees corn syrup that had been contaminated with this. What he found was that the bees, for one, left their hive in the middle of winter, a deadly mistake associated with colony collapse disorder. And so Bayer is saying, well, this pesticide has never been found in corn syrup. Well, that's not the point. The point is, look what happens to bees when you expose them to it. This is just another thing. And another one is the possible link between GMOs and autism, according to Seeds of Destruction author Jeffrey M. Smith. Nobody really knows what exactly causes autism, but it probably has something to do with toxicity. And we talk a lot about vaccines, but that's surely not the only cause of the rise in autism. So it's possible that GMOs are implicated in that as well, because of the kind of system we have, which is really a corporatocracy, where our government is, you know, it's revolving door government, where people go to work for corporations and then leave the corporation to go to work for the government, you know, just long enough to pass laws that favor the corporation's interests, and then they go back to work for the corporation. And so because of the way our government and the corporations are in bed with each other, a lot of times laws are made that favor the interests of the corporations over those of the people. A recent battle that's unfolding is the Vermont the state of Vermont would like to pass legislation to label GMOs, because at this time they're not labeled, and so Monsanto is threatening to sue them if they do that. Unfortunately, in the past, when things came up where it was a case of the corporate interest versus that of the people, courts tend to rule in favor of the corporations, such as this, which happened with Monsanto before in 2003, where a Florida appeals court decided that the media can legally lie. They ruled in favor of Fox News, who was trying to force their reporters to lie about the safety of Monsanto's RBGH. They decided that the news has no duty to report the truth. So what can be done about Monsanto? This is what we're going to talk about on the radio. Let's take down Monsanto. Can it be done? Well, you know what the Vermont dairy collectives did? Well, the Vermont farmers and the dairy collectives, see, they could not outlaw RBGH, and they couldn't even really label it, as you see. So what they did is the dairy collectives decided to have the farmers sign affidavits stating that they're not using RBGH on their cows. And that way, you know that all the milk from a given collective is RBGH free, even if it's not labeled as such, because you know that the farmers had to sign this affidavit. So that was great. So what else can we do to take down Monsanto? To screw Monsanto up. Thumbs up for screwing Monsanto. That's what we're going to be talking about on the radio with Jeff Harvey. What Jeff proposes, for one, is to completely boycott Monsanto and any product that has GMO materials in it. You can find out about some of them here. There are all kinds of GMO crops. Crops you could probably avoid by buying local or organic, or just looking into where the crop comes from. Most of the GMO foods that we consume are in processed foods, especially in the form of oils. Soy, canola, corn, and cottonseed oil. They're all very high. 93% of soy, 93% of cotton, 86% of corn, and 90% of canola is GMO. So the odds are, if you see any of those on the label, it's probably a GMO, and if you want to boycott it, you should probably not buy that product. This will affect Monsanto. Even now, okay, when you go to the supermarket now, you see all kinds of organic stuff. Well, they can't say non-GMO, but you can buy stuff from, say, Italy that you know can't be GMO because GMO is not legal there. Or you buy stuff that's organic, or things that avoid this. They know that there's a demand for this. They know that we want that, and so they're putting it out. So the more demand there is for that, the more they're going to provide us with that, because it's supply and demand. So by not buying anything with GMO in it, you're sending the message to Monsanto and to producers of foods that you don't want that garbage. You don't want GMOs. So boycott GMOs, and of course buy local as much as you can, and organic. And the other thing you could do is dump your Monsanto stock. And if everybody starts dumping their stock because they're doing this kind of stuff to the environment and to people, well, Monsanto's not going to like that, because if everybody dumps their stock, well, they're going to lose money, because more people are going to say, hey, look, everybody's dumping their Monsanto stock. I don't want to be invested in Monsanto because this company's going to take a nosedive. So, you know, we can put pressure on them to change the way they do things. Monsanto is putting an insane amount of pressure on governments all over the world to allow their garbage crops, their seeds, to be grown and sold, and also on legislators, you know, like what they're doing in the courts in Vermont. I mean, they're putting pressure on the entire system, so to stack the deck in their favor, but we can put pressure back on them to make it not profitable for them to sell GMOs. And in the end, that's all they really care about. Well, maybe not the only thing, because they also want to kill us, but money is very important to them. So I hope you join me tomorrow on American Freedom Radio. The show is called The Truther Girls. It's from 2 to 4 p.m. on Thursdays. Tomorrow is the 12th of April. And join me tomorrow, please, with Jeff Harvey from jefftech.net. I'll give you the link below. And let's talk about how we can do something about this problem, how we can take down Monsanto. And if you have any other suggestions for what we can do, and we're not only going to be talking about that, we're going to be talking about other things too, with the stock market and corrupt companies, and about natural health, and lots of things. Jeff is super interesting, and he's got all kinds of really neat high-tech gadgets that he uses, like, to improve people's health. So it's going to be a great, fun and interesting show. So yeah, I hope you join me, and if you have any comments, leave me your comments about how you think that maybe we could make this change happen, and what force Monsanto to not want to make GMOs. Put some pressure on Monsanto. Well, leave me your comments, and thanks for listening to me, and I'll see you next time.